For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Tonya LeeAnne from Lydias Castle. How's it going today, Tonya?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel like this podcast has been in the works for a really long time, but I know you wanted to wait until you had some music to talk about, which is exciting because you're finally releasing music. I know the pandemic had a lot to do with putting that on hold, but
Hey, we're here. We're finally doing it. So
yeah, absolutely. So I'm really excited to sit down and chat with you. We've chatted a few times via Facebook, but this is the first time face to face to actually have a conversation. So I'm excited. So if you're ready, let's
jump right in. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So before we jump into the new single that just recently dropped and the upcoming album and all the fun stuff you're working on, let's take a step back. What's kind of your background story? Kind of give yourself an opportunity to introduce yourself to all the listeners out there.
Yeah, sure. So my background, I currently live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm from North Carolina. And I actually, so Lydias Castle's the band that I front and I sing. And I didn't actually grow up on rock music, believe it or not. I grew up listening and singing to country music. And then around in 2013, I heard Lizzie Hailstorm's very first album. And I said, whoa, I want to do that. And so I just kind of took a leap and did something that I had never done before. And I just found this new voice within myself. I just really fell in love with just writing and performing rock. I really liked the challenge, to be honest. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so you're from North Carolina originally, which is good you brought that up because I saw in your personal Facebook page something about St. Louis, and I was like, oh, hey, something to talk about. But then
No, we can talk about St. Louis too. I lived in St. Louis for quite some time. That's actually where I started getting into the rock scene. So St. Louis is very dear to my heart. And our guitar player, he also is from St. Louis as well.
Nice. I'm from Chicago originally, but I went to school down in Southern Illinois. So St. Louis was a quick trip when we needed to get away.
Are you a Cubs fan?
No.
Are you a Cardinals fan?
No.
Okay. At least you said you're not a Cardinals fan. So I'm a Cubs fan. So
well, this is even, I don't have my hat, but I'm a White Sox fan.
Oh, well, I mean, that's okay too. I still like you. That's not too bad.
Sweet.
No, our guitar player is a Cards fan and I'm a Cubs fan. So when we watch baseball together, it's usually from opposite ends of the restaurant.
Yeah. That's funny. Hey. Yeah. So, just that entire dynamic of Cubs and Cards fans is hilarious because
we beat them once. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
I lived to see that day. But no, I grew up in North Carolina, lived in St. Louis for a hot minute, then moved out to Nashville. And then that's when we started Lydias Castle.
Gotcha. And that was in 2020, right around the quarantine?
Yeah, around 2019 is kind of when we started writing. And then, during that time period, so we just wrote, me and the guitar player, we wrote 30 songs together. And it was just the inspiration just kept coming out. And then at the end of when society kind of started opening up back again, we were hey, let's try to find some other people to write with. And that's when we ran into John Wysocki, who is the former drummer from Stain. And he now plays in Lydias Castle. And we have really taken our time to find the right bass player. I won't announce his name yet, but I will say that I do think that we found the person that we want to be a part of our family. So awesome. Yeah, exciting times. So it was just a really great fit, good mesh, like we're just one big family outside of just playing music. So it's cool.
Awesome. So growing up in North Carolina, when you first started doing or taking an interest in music, was it something more just listening and having fun, or what was like that first moment where you started taking an interest in music?
Well, it's funny that you ask that because music has been a part of my life forever. My great grandparents owned a music store. So throughout my entire life, even like my dad's life, there's always been music around. So I actually started playing violin in elementary school. Then I moved to clarinet and saxophone. And then at 15, I started playing guitar. I've always done the whole singing and writing poetry, which turned into lyrics. But music it's always been, I'd walk into my grandparents' music store and they say, well, what instrument do you want to take home and play? So it was never a money factor that ever slowed me down as far as like growing musically, which was just always really nice because some people don't have that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So growing up in your grandparents' music store, was there a specific instrument that you never got a chance to play that you kind of wish?
Oh, okay. I wish I could play bass and mandolin and banjo. Those are the three that if you play those instruments, kudos to you, because I even tried during quarantine when I had the time, and it's like my mind just doesn't like want to wrap around that. I don't know. That's a hard instrument, especially mandolin, man. That's like another planet of smartness.
I watch a lot of bluegrass bands perform, and the mandolin player is just always like, I have no idea how you're pulling this one off.
That's like the way to my heart. I'm just like, if you play mandolin, I'm just like sitting in the crowd, just like drooling over the fact that you can do something like that.
Agreed. I feel the same way about fiddle players. Like they just, I don't know, something about fiddle players. It's like, I wish I could do that. Like that's just, none of it makes sense to me, but it's just amazing.
Do you play any instruments?
Nope. I tried to play the cornet back in 4th grade.
Okay.
I did not have the discipline to practice. So
that's all right.
There we sit. So
did you play recorder?
I don't. I tried to play harmonica, but I really tried to learn how to play harmonica, but it just wasn't for me. I think
that's okay. You support us musicians.
Yeah. So. I think that I've always talked to so my 2 partners in all this. We've had several different conversations about starting a futuristic reggae band of some sort, or futuristic bluegrass band. That's what it was, not reggae. So basically it would be me on theremin, and my one buddy plays upright bass, and the other guy would figure out something because he plays drums, and bluegrass bands don't usually have drummers.
Drums,
so
right. Hey, and I'm sensing like a Lydias Castle like show with that.
Yeah. So it's funny because we do all this kind of weird, we go down to a bluegrass festival in the Keys every January, and we've thought of like an entire song already, but none of us play I don't play an instrument, and the only one that actually plays a bluegrass instrument is our buddy Brady, who plays upright. The rest of us are just kind of like, yeah, we'll figure it out. So
you're just like doing things on stage to make noise.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
hey, whatever.
We'll figure it out. But anyways, so you growing up in North Carolina, what was kind of that point where you decided to make that shift of, okay, I'm playing music for fun or personal satisfaction or whatever the initial motive was, to, okay, I think I can do something with this professionally, make money, all that?
Well, I graduated with like 52 kids. And funny story about that. I always tell people I graduated 30th in my class, but then I just don't tell them it's 52 kids. But I say all that because when I graduated, I just had this very like ambitious, I don't want to say like naive, but just very blissful. And I was like, I'm going to pack up my stuff and I'm going to move to St. Louis and I'm going to get a record deal. And I just learned like really quick that it doesn't work like that. And I think that the turning point to like want to be serious about it was learning, actually seeing like how big of an impact that somebody as a front person of a band can like really make in somebody else's life. You know, like you have literally the power to like write lyrics that inspire people or acknowledge somebody in a way that makes them feel like they're being uplifted. Like you have the ability to like help people get through life. And once I like kind of saw other people doing that, when I like branched outside of my bubble in North Carolina, that's when I knew I wanted to take it seriously. I just knew that there's a lot of good that you can do with it, no matter what genre you're in. And I wanted to take it to the top so that I had the ability to do that.
Gotcha. And so after, I'm assuming after you graduated high school, that's when you moved out to St. Louis, or is there a little bit of time gap in there?
Yeah, I kind of bounced around a little bit, you know, like I spent a couple months in Indianapolis and Michigan and Illinois and Missouri and, you know, like just here or there. But I did spend the majority of my time in North Carolina and then St. Louis and then now here in Nashville. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I kind of roam around.
Yeah. Hey, I find myself in that pattern right now, just kind of roaming around, and I'll land somewhere eventually. So
it keeps life interesting. So
it also keeps life very expensive when you keep moving.
Oh yeah. I'm getting too old for that.
I'm kind of at that point now where it's just like I've started to collect too many things, and it's
man.
Yeah.
I'm like one heavy box away from like breaking my back. I'm like, we're hiring people.
When I moved into this place I'm in now, it was just me and my mom moved me into this apartment. And now I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't even think me, my dad, and 3 of my best friends could move me out of this place. There's just no way it could happen.
It's like, how does one collect so many things?
Yeah. So,
and all of which I need.
Oh yeah. I'm just sitting here like, nope, I need all of this. I need my 800 microphones, you know, I just need it all.
Yeah.
So
we have a lot of guitars.
Yeah. Hey, you're in a band, it makes sense, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what was kind of the lead up to Lydias Castle? Did you have any projects that you were in prior to Lydias Castle, or?
Yeah. So, you know, I had a project in St. Louis, and our guitar player also had a project in St. Louis at the time. And that's kind of like how we met, through, you know, friends and battle of the bands and that kind of thing. And, you know, after just being friends for a while, you know, we ended up dating, and eventually we had gotten married.
Yeah.
And so when quarantine hit and we just had all that time, we were like, hey, do you want to like do something together? And I was like, why have we never thought of this before? And we just had the time, you know, like that was one of the good things from COVID, is it just kind of gave back time, you know, to just kind of like be stuck in an apartment and to, you know, appreciate those things. So anyways, we started writing music, and that's just kind of like how it all started.
Nice. And so obviously quarantine was a very bad situation all around, but it gave a lot of people an opportunity to really find something they were passionate about, or gave them the opportunity to expand on something they were already doing, which obviously for a lot of musicians was music in general, but Maybe
Right.
they were in a project they weren't passionate about or weren't doing something they were passionate about. And it kind of gave them that opportunity to, oh, hey,
Yeah.
I'm playing rock and roll, but what I really want to play is,
Bluegrass.
there you go. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. And I was glad to have been there for a lot of those transformative moments. And the fact that you and your husband kind of sat down and were like, hey, we've never been in a project together. Let's see what this evolves into.
Mhm.
So you started throwing around the idea for Lydias Castle. What was the original thought process behind the band? What did you want it to be versus what it became?
Yeah. So I think like the thought process, I can speak on my behalf, was actually, I'm gonna be really honest with you. We didn't really have one.
Okay.
You know, when we sat down and we started writing, we just wrote what came to mind, you know, and it just like Phoenix and, you know, a few of the other songs that you're going to hear, like our next single, Search for You, like those are just songs that it just kind of came out of us. It wasn't like we were like, hey, let's kind of hone in on this genre or this sound and sound like this and do, you know, it just, we just came up with these ideas and wrote on them. And that's just kind of like how the music started, you know, but yeah, that's just what we did.
Since you're kind of fresh off of the creative process and writing music and all that stuff, how does that kind of work for Lydias Castle? What is the, for a lack of better terms, what is kind of the writing structure?
Yeah. So we actually don't have one.
Okay.
So what's great about being in a band with everybody being so talented is that we have written a song. It's called What Comes Around, and it's going to be on our EP. And that's a song that started with a drum beat. John came in, played this beat. Cody laid down some like guitar riffs over it. And then I came up with these vocals on the spot, and that was just the song. And then we have stuff like Fading Away that actually just came out. And that originated with a guitar riff, and then a drum beat, and then vocals. But then we also have songs like Phoenix, or even Search for You that you'll hear, and Fading Away. Those all started with just vocals, you know, a vocal line. And then we just kind of like wrote around that. But, you know, the cool thing about it is, besides like writing a song, is that we take the time to tear songs apart and like really examine them and make sure that it's like exactly how we want it to be. You know, do we need to tweak it? Is it too long? Do we need a bridge here? You know, and so like a lot of bands, they'll, you know, well, not a lot, but I know some bands will write music and then just leave it alone. But we're always like going back and doing like pre-production, even if it's not going straight into the studio, you know, just that examination.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So obviously you and John make sense as coming together as a band. Or not you and John.
Cody.
How does you and Cody, how does John fit into the mix? Sorry.
Yeah. So, John fit into the mix because, like I said, we were looking for musicians, and, you know, John just fell in love with the music. He liked the fact that he was working with people who work hard, you know, who aren't lazy, people that, you know how to actually write music. And then more importantly, like we just had a really great bond family unit. Instantly, we just all really clicked. And when we got in a room and we were writing together, we could like sense each other's energy, and we like knew where the song was supposed to go, you know?
Yeah.
So that's just like when you can develop something like that, especially so quick, man, you hold on to those people. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
you know when something's right, and you do everything you can to keep it together.
Yeah, like somebody doesn't have to yell out like, go to the chorus, you know, like it's like, no, like we sense that energy. Like we know together looking at each other, like what we're just going to do next. Yeah.
Absolutely. And right now it's really cool because you're a nice tight trio with the hopes of expanding to a four-piece, which will be fun and exciting. But obviously with the four-piece comes additional.
Yes, and there is a bass in the songs.
Yeah.
We just do hired gun stuff.
Yeah.
We really wanted to like make sure we found our person, because our energy, I'm telling you, one day we'll all get together on this podcast, but our energy together is like so cool. And we were just like waiting for the right person. And we just interviewed like 30 bass players.
Yeah.
And I think that we found our person after a year of being together.
Hey, sometimes, sometimes it just takes that long. Like you made it through, well, not made it through. You got to this point.
Yeah.
And you were able to get the person you want. So
I'll tell you some of the best decisions I ever made being in, because I kind of like manage Lydias Castle, like all the things, but one of the things I've learned is just not being so proactive. Like step back and like don't jump the gun. Like take your time with things and allow things to develop and evolve and make sure it's the right thing for you, even though we really needed a bass player, we just didn't jump in and settle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's nothing like having a toxic member to a band that to destroy a project really quick. It's
and it definitely happens. And but when you find the right people and everybody has the same mission and goal, like all of us just want to do good things in the world. We want to use like what we have to like do good. And when everyone's focused on that and having fun, it doesn't really matter if you succeed or if you fail, because at the end of the day, like you're just doing what you love to do.
Absolutely. So you brought up some of your singles that you've already released. You started off with Phoenix, but then you also just released Falling Into Place, which released Friday, right? Or has it been a little bit longer than that?
No, it released on Friday. I had to think the day we're on.
I'm sitting here because I remember seeing like the ads on social media and stuff. And I'm like, maybe it's been out for a little bit longer than I thought, but I feel like it was Friday, but
no, it's still super new, man. And we also have a music video coming out for it on Friday, and I'll kind of give you a little sneak peek. I haven't even like showed anybody yet. So if you're watching Twitch right now or Live and Amplified, you get the scoop.
Nice.
So we like rented out a prison set with like jail cells and like an interrogation room and a warden's office. And so like the music video is going to be sick, like the setting and stuff, it really goes well with the song. But our plan is like every single to have a music video. So
yeah, for sure. And because what I really appreciated about the music video for Phoenix was it was very well. First off, it was very well done, but it was a very elaborate but simple. If that like just simple in the way it looks, but like the camera movements and just like everything else that was put into it, it's like, okay, that's a nice little touch, man. We've been using Lighthouse Studios. His name is Austin Delamano. He's here in Nashville. And then Josh Trotter with Cap 2 was actually Captured Studios, but it reads Cap 2 Studios. Anyways, he does our photography. We really have built a great team of people around us, and just their ideas and their creativity. I mean, content is king. I tell them all the time, we write the music, but without you guys, we can't get our music out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, but yeah, Austin Delamano came in. We kind of had like this idea for Phoenix. And then he came in with that crown. Did you see the crown? We had no idea. He said, I'm going to build this crown, which is our logo. And he said, I'm going to, for the back of your set, and I'm going to program it to the song, like the lights. Yeah. We had no idea it was going to be the way that it was going to be. Like, that was just the coolest thing to us. Yeah. Well, that's where, like, I feel like a lot of musicians get hung up on this idea of everything has to come out of their creative brain, but
Right.
not every musician has the visual components. So if you bring somebody in that's a video producer or
Yep.
just a creative visually, you got to let them do their job. You do your job. If
Yep.
there's a certain look or feel that you want, convey that to them and just let it be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, for sure.
even if it's something that you initially didn't want, I think ultimately it's going to look 100 times better than forcing them to try and do something.
Yeah, something that they're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
And we just kind of give Austin the reins. We're like, here, you tell us what to do. We give you like a general idea, and he just kind of runs with it. And, I've learned like, and just being a musician and life in general, like, you can't get to the top if you're not willing to be coachable or allow other people to do their job, and, they just do a really great job. I can't wait for you to see the fall. If you like Phoenix, man, Falling Into Place is sick. Next Friday when that comes out, I'll send it to you. And
awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, I'm sure I'll see it on social media, but
everywhere.
Definitely looking forward to it. Where did you rent this prison place at? Was it someplace there in Nashville or?
Yeah, it's here in Nashville. There's this gentleman who has like 10 different sets that are set up, and they're each theme based, right? And he's got like the prison ward, he's got like an insane asylum, he's got like just a bunch of really cool things. And so Falling Into Place, which I mean, the music video is a video that has humor in it. The guitar player, my husband, he was like, we have to do a video that's like kind of funny. And I was like, okay, we can do it. So it's not like serious like Phoenix, it's like got more humor. But the song was written about falling into place and becoming the person that you want to be. So in the music video, even though it's funny, you have somebody who is, locked up, and we're doing music in our cells, and then we like break out of the prison into the warden's office, and like we get our instruments back, and then over the intercom we're just playing our music and all the inmates are rocking out. And it's just, Falling Into Place is just about, some people are like, you're falling, or you're a fallen person, but maybe you're just becoming who you should be or who you want to be. And we kind of try to convey that a little bit with the humor, but it's good stuff.
Nice. Yeah. And that drops on this Friday, right? So
this Friday we'll
4 days, 3 days, whatever
whatever day we're on. The
gotcha.
Friday coming up.
Yep. Got it. Perfect. So that drops on Friday. What's kind of for the album, are you doing the standard like 3 singles and then the album, or what's kind of the thought process behind that?
Yeah. So we're going to do 3 singles. So we'll have another single that we're going to be releasing the first Friday in April.
Okay.
And that's going to be for our single called Search for You, which I believe is what we're also going to title the album as well. But the album will have 5 songs on it.
Okay.
So
it'll be EP. Got it.
Yeah. And then so there will be 2 additional songs on there. And this Friday coming up, we'll also be announcing our EP release show here in Nashville. We got a couple more shows lined up around that, the spring, summertime as well. But the first one will be the EP release. And I think we're going to do something special, man. I think what we're going to do is get 100 physical CDs with like real old school liner notes in them.
Okay.
And with like the lyrics handwritten in them and pictures and, like what they did back in the day. Right.
Yeah.
And photos that haven't been released, and we're going to sign them. And there's only 100. Like, we're not going to get any more, mainly it's you know how it is. It's a streaming kind of world, right?
Yeah.
But we wanted to do something special because, we have people who have been with us on our journey for a really, really long time,
Yeah.
and those are things that you can hold on to, the tangible things that you can hold on to forever. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're working on right now. We're working on getting those liner notes and stuff together and getting that ready for the show. But we'll be announcing that show on Friday with that music video. So
awesome. I will have to pay extra close attention to that because I've had ever since I announced this podcast. So when did I announce it? Sunday, Saturday, whenever I put out the event page, I had a few of our mutual friends reach out and say their shows are kick-ass. If you're ever in Nashville, you need to go check out their show. And I'm like, okay. And so now that you're saying that there's going to be an album release, Nashville is only 11 and a half hours from where I'm at. So
I'm just saying Southwest has real cheap flights, man. The lodging's not expensive. I'm saying, Tom, you should make a flight out.
Depending on what it is, like no one really ever knows what's going to happen in the next few months. So
I'll message you after this.
Okay. Perfect. I dig it. It's one of those things where it's just like Nashville has been on the mind like the last 3 months or so. Like ever since my mom passed, it's just kind of like I need to stop stalling. I need to go after what I want to go after because nothing's given. So,
and man, if you don't, the thing about that is like you're gonna wonder your whole life, like, could I really have done something with this?
Yeah.
And the worst case scenario, you had fun doing it. And then if it doesn't work out, you can always go back to your 9 to 5, 8 to 5 day job. There's always those options. But I mean, like that's part of life is jumping into that abyss and just enjoying the fall and not, wherever it goes, like you have fun doing it.
Yeah. And what's making this eventual leap into the abyss a lot easier is so we've been doing Live and Amplified for 6 years now, and this is podcast episode 450, whatever it is. A lot of the people we've worked with are from Nashville, and they've all told me, if you ever make it to Nashville, don't worry about anything, we'll figure it out. And it's like that just makes me feel so much better.
And there's like so many bands you would never have to worry about not having somebody to interview.
Oh, I know. It's wild, and it's definitely something that's going to happen. I hope my boss isn't listening right now because she does not want me to leave by any stretch of the imagination. And it's like,
well, tell her to let you work remote.
She probably would at this point. Who knows? But so yeah, it's definitely been a conversation, been bouncing around. I keep saying November because that's kind of like when my lease is up, that I'll know what's going on. But that's kind of the plan.
Well, if you ever get down this way and you ever need help with anything like that, hit me up.
For sure. So album release coming, information coming soon, album release show, music video, singles.
Yep.
The important questions. You've released 2 singles and you're going to release a third one before the album. How did you kind of decide what singles you were going to release?
That's a great question. So the way that we decided to release music was, so you got to think like we're a new band. Like we're presenting a sound for the very first time. And so when we released Phoenix, we knew that was a song that showed many different sides of us. Like there's, like there's a heavier side, there's a more like reserved, we pull it back a little bit, but it shows like all sides. So then we thought, well, let's show a side that is more aggressive, and Falling Into Place is just like female Skid Row. You know what I mean? Like, it is very like rocker. It's in your face. It's something like not a lot of females are doing. And so we wanted to show like that side. And then so the next song that we're going to release, which is Search for You, that is kind of like, it's not a slow song. It's borderline slow ballad. But that is a song that will tug on your heartstrings. It is just one of those songs that anybody who has listened to it has just said like they could just feel, that empathy of just losing somebody, and searching for them in another life. And so that's kind of like where that song came from. So we have 3 songs, 3 different sides of us, that just kind of showcases, our sound, who we are. And then you mix that with the other 2 songs on the EP, and it's just, it just keeps adding to like different feels. Not one song is the same, which is super cool.
Yeah. Hey, and like being a young band, I don't think a lot of new bands think in that regard. Like they automatically just stick to one sound. But if you're kind of sitting on the fringe of a lot of different sounds and you take this like first EP, because let's be honest, you could take 5 songs and kind of lean into the different sides of the sound. So like if you're a little bit more heavy or soft or, a little bit more emo metal, like whatever you want it to be. And if people start gravitating to one song more than the other, it's like, okay, well, maybe we should lean into a little bit more of the screamo side, like whatever it ends up being. So,
right. And then, so like we have a song called What Comes Around, and it's very like, Royal Blood, Arctic Monkeys, Hailstorm. Nice. Kind of thing. And then we have the other song on the EP, it's called Fading Away, and that song is like very heavy. It's not like your fast rock like falling into place, but it's just like a very, very heavy song. So it's like completely different. It's all over the board, and like you said, it's not, we're not putting ourselves in one bucket. We're just kind of seeing where it goes.
Yeah, for sure. So you have 5 songs coming up on the EP.
Right.
How many songs didn't make the cut?
Oof. I would probably say about maybe 5 of them make the cut. One of them, we really, really wanted to have time in the studio to record. It is our ballad. It's called Here With Me. And we really wanted to record it. We just ran out of time, but we're on top of those songs, we're still writing new music on top of that music. Yeah. And because that's what we do, right? We create. Yeah. And, like I have a song that's really cool. It's kind of like a Mariah Brink. It's called Heartstrings. I'm really hoping that one makes the cut. But we got a lot of stuff in the books, and a lot of other songs. We're hoping to go back into the studio in October this year. Yes. We're just going to keep pumping out music and content. Yeah,
for sure. And I guess didn't make the cut was an aggressive way to word it, but I'm barely past English in any of my
past the cut is right. Like it's we have certain expectations, and maybe we need to go back and really kind of, like I mentioned earlier, like evaluate those songs a little bit more. But the producer that we use, his legal name is Jack Daniels. Nice. Jack C. Daniels. And he is from Sick Tone Studios out in Missouri. And hands down, one of the most talented guys I've ever met, just recording, pre-production, his bridge ideas. I mean, it was just phenomenal to work with him. And then the gentleman who did our mastering, we just had a really great team. And so we're going to be using them again. So if you like the music and you like the way it sounds, we're just going to, we're not going to change anything.
Yeah, if you find something that works, why change anything? But I
No.
remember watching on social media as you'd post either on the Lydias Castle page or on your personal page about driving back and forth to Missouri on weekends. And just
Cape Girardeau. Yeah.
yeah.
So here's the thing. Nashville has a lot of really great producers, right? But we wanted to bring something to Nashville that like nobody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so to do that, we were like, okay, well, let's go somewhere that no one else is going. And so we went to Cape Girardeau. It's not a really big city. Like it's
I went to school. I went to school in Carbondale and
so yeah, we have you ever been through the town Cairo?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I have. Yes.
Okay, so so you just don't stop in Cairo. Like we were like, oh look, there's a subway sign. But then there was no subway. And so the running joke was like somebody stole the entire subway.
Yeah.
But but no, we'll be back there again. Jack Daniels from Sick Tone Studio, he's just our guy. Mm-hmm. Like and you know what's cool real quick is you know, as a new band coming in, like he had the opportunity to like create our sound. You know, so it's not like somebody coming in who's done records before and it's like, oh, well, I know like what kind of sound you're going for. You know, the cool thing about this is like he got to be a part of like our creation. Like he got to create like our sound. Nice. And so in doing that, we'll be back.
Sweet. Sure. Yeah, you got to watch out in Southern Illinois. There's a lot of exits where you're lucky if they have an entrance ramp to get back on the expressway or the highway or the whatever, you know.
Oh man, no, I've taken a couple wrong turns in East St. Louis before, so I'm not really geography map. Good thing I have like I was actually just talking about this last night. Like if it was like end of the world times and I had to like get around with a paper map, I would not get anywhere. Like I told my husband, I was like, I need you to teach me how to read a map. Like I GPS everywhere, like to and from work.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's almost in Illinois. You're better off. It's Southern Illinois, you know, East St. Louis, that whole area. You're almost better off with either not knowing where you're going or a paper map because.
Yeah, you're just screwed at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's funny that you know what I'm talking about, Cairo stuff.
Oh yeah, it's.
If we have any listeners right now, go ahead and research the town Cairo in Illinois.
Little Egypt. And it's if you go through there in the summer, it is probably one of the hottest places I've ever been in my life. And like I lived out in the high desert for several years, and Southern Illinois, man, you just can't
yeah, I've not been through there during the summertime, you know, the Cairo part.
Yeah.
But we went through there around like Christmas time, and it was funny because like there's no lights, like everything's boarded up, and you know, it's just like an unfortunate, very sad place vibe. But like in the wintertime in like around Christmas, it's like there's this tree and this like little what are they called, like the little round things that you drive around?
The roundabouts.
Yep. So in the roundabout is this giant Christmas tree, and it's like every single light that should be on in Cairo is like on the tree. And so it's like so if you ever get lost, like look in the wintertime, look for a giant tree and you're in Cairo.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh my, I forgot about the Christmas tree. It's
wild
10 years since I've been in Cairo because I don't have a reason to go through that part of time or that part of the state, so I don't.
Well, John, our drummer, keeps joking about like our next video we're going to shoot in Cairo, and I was like, no, we're not. We're not stopping our cars and doing any kind of anything in Cairo. Because
the second you do that, that's when Barney Fife comes rolling up and asks for your filming permits and then throws you in city lockup until Monday, and you're Yeah.
and take all our gear.
Yeah. That's because so when I went to school down in Carbondale, I went to SIU.
Yeah.
The first day, like first move-in day, we were coming down because we were coming from Chicago. That's where I'm from. And we had to pull off because there was such a backup on the highway. It's like, well, we can get there. We can go through some of these small towns and get there just as fast. My dad decided that 45 wasn't fast enough because that was the speed limit. And he was doing like 70 through a 45. And Barney Fife comes rolling around and he's like, and his little Southern accent, he's like, look at here, little man. And it's just like, he's like, you slow down in my town. And it's like, all right, I'm good. Sorry about that. So you got to watch yourself around there. So,
yeah, no, for real.
What's so obviously the album release show, that information's coming out here soon. What's the other than the release show, what are your shows looking like? I know you kind of took a break right around Christmas to record the album and all that stuff. What's kind of your shows looking like now?
Yeah, so we're going to kind of like, play a show in April.
Mm-hmm.
That is just kind of, it's like going to be a top secret show. We're about to invest in like a lot of like gear that we've never used on stage before to kind of program some backing track things where it's like some ambient sounds and stuff, and program lights and stuff like that. And so we're going to do that, and then we'll have our EP release show in May.
Mm-hmm.
And then in June, we're hoping to get around to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's kind of like our stomping grounds is Nashville, St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, usually like July, August, and September, we've been asked to do like national act shows. So, we've been asked to play with Renee Phoenix from Fit for Rivals.
Yes.
We've played with Diamante. So, I'm kind of like, I don't really like to book like that far out. Like, let's just kind of, because we're releasing music, like it could go anywhere. You never know where something can take you. So that's kind of
with the pandemic, it's kind of taught everybody like, hey, like, yeah, it's cool to have plans, but maybe not announce everything right away because.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe like not plan so far out. Like I told you, I'm not the person that like jumps on offers or, things like, because you just never know. So I'm kind of like letting the music breathe, see what people think about it. But I do think that we'll continue to stay like regionally located, like Kansas City, maybe Cincinnati, Ohio, Knoxville, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee, places that are like really like drivable, but not going all the way to LA. Like we're not.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. Gas out there $7. We're not going to LA. Unless we're walking.
And
that's not happening either.
No. Not with all that gear. Nope, it's not happening. Not flying, not doing none of that.
Yeah, no way, dude. So, but that's kind of the plan. And we're just kind of like pitching our music, to other, management and stuff like that, and kind of seeing like who's interested, if maybe somebody wants to do like a development or distribution deal, things like that. But, regardless of what happens and where's it goes, we're going to be going back into the studio in October, and we're just going to keep pumping it out, pumping music, and that's kind of the plan.
Nice. Hey, that's what's up. So has John kind of stepped in and helped guide you in the right direction, since he's obviously been on every major stage ever?
Yeah. No, John definitely, he has his contacts from Spain, and being from St. Louis, Cody and I also like being in the scene as long as we have, know some people as well. And who knows where it's going to go? It it could take off overnight, or it could be a couple of years. And that's why I say the ultimate goal is to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, we run it like a business. We're serious. We rehearse twice a week.
Mhm.
You know, we were very, very active, but at the end of the day, like, we all like go see Batman together, and you know what I mean? Like, we just have fun, and it's cool. So
that's important, that I don't think a lot of bands kind of equate in, is to make the experience a lot more fun. You almost have to be friends or have those the ability to do friend things, I guess, is the best way to.
Yeah, well, I mean, picture like being in a vehicle with somebody for weeks, or a bus. Like, if I can't stand you for 2 rehearsals a week, we're never going to be able to survive doing a weekend tour or whatever, you know. But, you know, and John has his fiance Shannon, and she's just so lovely, and we include her in everything. That's like being a female, like, and always hanging with the guys. Like, I like to make them feel included, because I know what it's like to be excluded. You know what I mean? So, but it's one big family. She hangs out with, she's a part of our band group text thread.
Nice.
Like, that's how much we include her.
Hey, like, I mean, that's the perfect way to do it. I just kind of imagine John agreeing to do a show, and then his fiance chiming in being like, remember, we got that thing on Saturday.
She does. Yeah. No, she helps me keep him straight. I keep Cody straight. And, you know, the new bass player, man, he's on his own.
Nice.
I'm like, you got to either get a girlfriend, a wife, something, because I can't manage all these men.
That's funny. Oh, so funny. So obviously, with everything out, or the 2 singles out, and getting a lot of great publicity, and you're in the verge of releasing the new album and shows and little we'll call them micro tours. We're not going to call them full-blown tours. What's kind of running through your mind right now as you're kind of in the heyday of this entire process of releasing your debut album?
You know, so my day job, I work for a healthcare company as a data analyst. And so completely different from music, right? But I'm curious from more of a data analytical side to like see how many streams we have, how many listeners, you know, where do they drop off in the song? Where do they drop off in the video? You know, so for me, excuse me, is I'm more or less not just excited to share music in the world and, you know, try to change it and, you know, do some good, but I'm always like on the nerdy side. I'm like, oh, I wonder where this is going to go today. Or, you know, like what countries are really interested in Lydia's castle, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
I enjoy the occasional analytical look and figuring out all that stuff. It's fun. It's interesting. But then, you know, sometimes it's just like, all right, I don't really care. Let's keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, right. I mean, and I feel like knowledge is power. So, you know, if you can not immerse yourself in it, but if you can spend a little bit of time and like allow the data to tell a story, maybe you can kind of critique, you know, what better to do the next time, you know, that kind of thing. So, but I'm real nerdy with that. I'm like numbers, you know, aliens, Loch Ness monster, you know.
Gotcha. So kind of outside of music, you kind of mentioned that you have a day job. You're not a full-time musician. You have to supplement your music addiction, is what I like to phrase it as. When you kind of need time to yourself or to get away, or what are some of your hobbies? What do you do to kind of decompress from life?
Yeah. So, goodness, that's a great question. I do so much. I go to work to get off to go to work with Lydia's Castle. But no, like so I like to draw and color, and I own a printing company on the side. So I get to like create outside of just creating music. So I originally had no intent on having a printing company. Yeah. I didn't intend for that to happen. What had happened was I started creating merch for us in-house, hand screen printing our shirts and, you know, koozies and stuff. And then other bands were like, did you do that? And I was like, shh. And then, but it didn't stay quiet. So then it kind of, you know, one person talked to another, and I started, you know, really like kind of taking off with this. So I was like, all right, I got to give it a name. So I named it Castle Built Printing. And then I started taking photography for bands for fun, which led to, hey, can I pay you to do some photos? So that led to Castle Built Photography.
Yep.
And so I run it all under Castle Built, but those are just fun things. You know, I have, you know, kids that reach out to me and they're like, hey, can you come to my show and take some photos? And I'll do that. And I'll, you know, I'll print them around a merch. And I think that's important though, because like, you know, there's not a lot of money to be made in music, you know, and a lot of it is in your merch sales. And, you know, I have a day job. You know, so what I'm making off of merch, it's like fun, you know, fun money. Yeah. And so if I have like these young kids coming and they're like, hey, can you print our t-shirts? You know, I'm going to sell it at a point where like they can actually profit. Yeah. You know, and get them some good gear and stuff like that. So it's all good stuff, man. It's like, it's fun, but it's like giving back to other musicians. It's a great way to network. It's been real good to me. So that's what I do on the fun side, outside of Netflix and video games and all that stuff.
I was going to say, so there's no like Netflix binging or? Oh
yes, I am totally wrapped up into this new show. It's number 1 on Netflix right now. It's called Pieces of Her.
Okay, I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh man,
I've not seen the show, but I've seen it pop up on Netflix. So.
Well, dude, I like literally stayed up until like 1 a.m. And mind you, like I got to go to work at like 7 a.m. Yeah. So that's like real late for me. Yeah. And so I stayed up till like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, like watching it. Cody came home. He's like, you want to watch it? And I was like, I need you to catch up. You fell asleep last night does not mean I have to pause the TV. So he did, and now we're caught up. But yeah, nice. Netflix, you know, video games, like we have a Switch, and we grill out and stuff like that. So yeah, man, it's all good things.
Nice. I have to get back into my video game thing because I sold my PS3 back in the day, and then when I was ready to because I didn't have when I lived in Florida, I couldn't afford internet. So I was like, well, I can't play this PlayStation because,
makes sense.
You know, and so by the time I got to a position where I could get another system, it was like the 4 had been out for a minute and then the 5 was getting ready to come out. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just wait for the 5. And then the pandemic made the 5 like impossible to get. So it's like,
I was going to say, aren't they on like PS like 40?
Yeah.
By now.
And so now it's just kind of like, yeah, well, once everything kind of chills out, I will figure out where I want to go and what I want to do. So
are you more into like PlayStation or are you more into like Xbox?
I tried Xbox for a minute, but Microsoft screwed me out of a year of Microsoft Live or Xbox Live or whatever it was. And so I vowed never to own an Xbox again.
I only have had an Xbox except for like PlayStation 1. Like I had PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
But that's been it. And then just Xbox. But I'll fill you in on a secret. So my favorite video game is Halo, and Cody and I have beat all of the Halos on like heroic.
Nice.
Like, yeah. So anyone playing Twitch and wants to join and see me like
dominate,
throw some sticky grenades on some aliens and fly around in some banshees, hit me up.
That's what's up. You know, I've been playing a PlayStation 2 because I found it buried in a box, and I was like, okay, we'll play this. And that's what I've been doing for the last year.
Hey, there is no shame in that. I have probably beat Halo like 40 times in my life. So
The original one?
Yeah.
Nice. What are they on now? Like I
want to say like Halo like 5. I don't know. The new Halo came out and like you can't play it like co-op. And which really kind of sucked. So it's kind of like one person, unless you like were to play it online.
Gotcha.
And that's cool too. But yeah, they need to like go back to like their old ways.
Yeah.
I think it had something to do. I could be completely wrong. So if anyone on Twitch is listening, they can correct me. But I think it had something to do with like the graphics were better if it was just like one person versus like two. But
yeah,
is that right? Or did you hear that?
That seems right. Like just the pure logic behind it seems right. But
yeah,
you know, I'm not that deep into video games where like I used to be back in the day, but just like that logic seems right.
Yeah, man, I gotta watch myself. I'm like, all right, 1 hour of TV, 1 hour of this a day, and then I'm like, on to something new. Because I'll like sit there, I'll get engulfed by it.
Gotcha. All righty. Well, before we kind of wrap this up,
Sure.
We have to do one thing, and it's our lightning speed round of randomness. I have a random question generator sitting right here, and so I'm going to fire off some of these questions at you.
Okay.
Would you okay, so if you're ready, I got the questions right here.
All right, shoot.
Would you rather live without color or without taste?
Without taste.
If you were held at gunpoint, what movie would you wait, that question makes no sense. Hold on, let me sorry, I was like, either I'm not reading it right or all right.
It's okay.
Would you rather be the first person to explore a planet or be the inventor of a drug that cures a deadly disease?
Cures a deadly disease.
Perfect. Would you rather eradicate speed bumps or speed limits?
Freaking speed bumps, dude.
Oh, they've destroyed so many of my cars. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Like my chiropractor's like, what happened to you? And I'm like, speed bumps.
Yeah. What is the furthest lengths you've gone to make a joke or a pun?
Oh, dude, I am so bad at telling jokes. And it gets to the point where I'm like trying to explain it. And it's just like not even funny. I am not a good joke teller at all.
If someone tells you you're getting annoying, what is the most likely reason?
Because I say like or like a lot. Probably.
Fair. Pineapple pizza, yes or no?
Oh my God, yes. Please. With ham on it.
Oh, geez. No, please, no. Yeah. All right. What could you talk about for hours but have no actual knowledge of?
Ooh. What could I talk about for hours but have no knowledge of?
So basically, what could you BS your way through for an hour?
Probably music theory.
Okay.
I could get through it.
And then if you're going to the zoo, what animal do you have to see?
The seals.
Fair. Okay.
All day long.
That's it.
Or the giraffes.
Awesome. I dig it.
Yeah.
The questions were starting to get a little repetitive, and I was like, I've seen this like 2 or 3 times.
I love that. Nobody has done that on a podcast before.
Well, see, so what kind of evolved that is, so when I was doing the pancreatic cancer fundraiser in honor of my mom in November, I had like 100 different podcasts lined up over the course of 3 days. I was like, I got to do something because it's going to be very serious. I got to do something to make it a little bit more lighthearted and fun, because that's what my mom would have wanted. And so I found this 21 party questions app on my phone. And so it just like brings up random questions. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to ask one random question for every guest. Cool. And then about 2 weeks ago, somebody was on here. It was like, hey, could we do it like a speed round and just you ask me a bunch of questions because I don't want this interview to end. And I'm like, okay. So I started doing it. And then the questions started getting really weird and random. And I'm like, okay, let's keep doing this. It's fun. So
let's not stop. No, that was cool. So that made me think about what I can get through talking about, but not know anything about.
Nice. Hey, that works. So for anybody that's out there listening, if they want to check out your music videos, keep up with anything you got going on, where's the best place for them to do that?
Yeah, so there's a couple places. You can go to lydiascastle.com. We have music and photos and our bio, press kit, all that there. Also, you can go to Linktree/Lydias that also has all of our social medias on there. Or, I mean, if you literally just search Lydias Castle, when I trademarked it, there was like no other Lydias Castle in existence. Yeah. So we're very easy to find. Nice. YouTube, we're on like every social media platform. So find us, you'll find music. That video comes out next Friday. Got another single the first Friday in April. So we're busy.
Awesome. And then one thing I meant to ask earlier, where does Lydias Castle come from?
Oh, the name?
Yeah, the name.
So the name, so long story short, the name comes from Cody and I. We had unexpectedly lost our daughter a couple weeks before our due date, and her name was Lydia. And after we had lost her, we realized that we just had to go through this whole like self-discovery and figure out who we wanted to be as people again. And while we were pregnant with Lydia, this Comcast guy came into our apartment called Castle. What was it, like Castle Point Apartments? Yeah. And they literally look like castles. And he goes, well, what do you want your Wi-Fi name to be? And I said, let's do Lydias Castle. And I looked at Cody and I said, if we're ever in a band one day, we should use our Wi-Fi name, Lydias Castle, as like a band name. That's super cool, right? Yeah. And then so, when Lydia passed away, and Cody and I decided to do music one more time, and we decided to do it together around, fast forward a couple of years, then COVID hit. That's when we started writing. But we were just like, this is the perfect name. It's like, it's symbolic for like strength, but also it's about like, to me, like Lydias Castle is about being able to, when you go through like hard times, like there is a light at the end of the tunnel, like there's good situations and bad times. And it's about just like figuring out who you want to be. Like we built our castle. It was Lydias Castle, and when we had to figure out what we wanted to do in life. So it's for other people to figure out their paths. And that's kind of the symbolic meaning behind it.
Awesome.
So we took a tragic thing, made it beautiful, and now we're here where we are today.
Awesome. I know if she'd be proud to see where everything's kind of gone for you since. So.
Oh yeah, she'd have red hair just like me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But once again, I want to thank you so very much. I'm glad we were able to get this up and running. It, like I'd mentioned earlier, it feels like we were been doing this for a really long time, or been trying to get this in motion for a really long time. So I'm glad we were able to get this in the books and on the record. Yeah. For anybody that's hanging out watching, after this interview, I'm going to go hang out in another Twitch chat with my friend Emmy. So if you want to come along, feel free. We're just going to go listen to some cool, chill acoustic music and kind of calm down from a great podcast interview. So
yeah, man, thanks for having me on. And it was really great and fun hanging out with you and just chatting a little bit about music and stuff. And I look forward to speaking to you again, hopefully in the future.
For sure. Once again, Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See ya.
Cool. We're clear.